Iowan, Felicia. For coming, everyone. We're just going to wait a few minutes to get everybody in before we start. Join in. Diana, thanks for joining. Just give it a couple more minutes here and get her started. Thanks for joining, Michelle.
Hello.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was not on mute when I just cleared my voice. So sorry.
Thanks for joining, Catherine. All right, we'll wait till 1:33 and I'll start talking and hopefully more people trickle in.
We have a massive snowstorm here in Atlantic Canada. I hope you guys are all in the warmth and loveliness that we're not in.
Well, I'm in Maryland and it is like 17 degrees with the wind chill, but no snow.
Oh,
You're
you're
muted.
muted, Carl.
I was muted the whole time.
Not when you were saying welcome. You were
Oh.
muted.
So today I want to welcome you guys to the webinar and I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to join me today. My name is Carl Chase. I am a sales representative here at Dovico Software. And today's agenda, just to kind of break down to what to expect is going to happen today. I just basically have a 3 tabs and I'm going to talk about the benefits of making the most out of your plan and what's in each plan. And but the most important part,
I don't know if I told you, but we had a very
the most important part of this webinar for me, though, is to get your feedback during this presentation. And the way that I'm going to capture that feedback is very, like, if you guys want to raise your hand and ask a question, you're more than welcome to do it that way. You can just speak in the chat, like take yourself off mute, ask the question. Dovico also has a software that allows you to ask anonymous questions or just statements about what's going on. You can join that by either this QR code, and the people taking care of Zoom from my team is going to post the link in the chat, and you can also just click on that and join as I'm going through. Now, as people are joining the chat, I only have one question, and the one question that's going to be relevant during the most of this presentation is just this question here. What version of the software will bring the most value to your team, and which features or tools would make you consider upgrading? Now, I know that I didn't go into the presentation yet, I just want you to put this question in the back of your mind. And think about it as I go through, and then anything that pops up, questions, comments, you can just type in here and you can post it as anonymous or non-anonymous so we know who actually posted it. It's up to you. So again, just a way to get you guys involved in the presentation. So where I start today is if we go to our website, the easiest place to tell about Dovico's plans is under here, which is the pricing page. This is the location that will identify each plan and what each plan does. Today, I'm mostly going to concentrate on the high level change, like differences between our three plans. Now, if you see, we have basic, professional, and premium. If you scroll down, we do have, the charts that you see on softwares where it outlines which ones has which feature right down to the detail. So you can, after this conversation, just go to dovico.com, go to the pricing page and look at what the minute differences are. I am primarily going to talk for about 20 minutes and just show the differences between basic and professional. Towards the end of this presentation, I'm going to show you the tool that's most relevant in premium and why you would move to it. And that would be this resource allocation tool that I'm going to get to here at the end of the presentation. Now, there's something that people may not know about Dovico before I get into it is that, if you come here and you buy basic or you buy professional or premium, you may not know that they're single items or not, or you may not have purchased it. You're not even the person on the webinar today that purchased it. But what people should know is if you're a Dovico client and you're on basic, you can traverse between plans pretty easily by contacting us, and we can flip switches in the background and enable you to move between these. So just pointing that out, because some people just looking at this, you may not know that you can move between these. So the very first place I'd like to start to point out is basic. So most of the people on this call already use Dovico and know how it works. As you can see here, when you log into the timesheet here, we do have our project creation screen. Basic is mostly used for customers that come through the door that are on Excel, are writing it down on paper, or they're just getting into tracking time or having the need to track time. So getting off that either homegrown way of doing things and coming onto a more structured platform. So there are, between our three plans, there are commonalities between the three. And obviously, tracking time in basic is the only thing you can do in it. So they do have the timesheet. Oops, sorry about that. Got logged out, I think. So they have their timesheet in basic, just like you'd have your timesheet in pro. Under here, you have your projects, your tasks, your employees. And under employees here is just your straight employee. They do have security groups. However, these security groups are not, you can't manipulate them. They're either you're the administrator, you're the manager, the auditor, or the team lead, and you can't be anything in between. It's just, it's all, structured in that manner. So that's the big difference between, this plan is just you're only able to track time. So once I create a project and I create a task and I make assignments, and users then come in and they track their time by, just like they would in any of our products, they can just put their time in, hit submit, and then once that time is submitted, this product is pretty straightforward. When you go to the reports, which is another commonality between the three products, is there's reports on all three, but what are the differences between the three? Here, these reports are all time reports. You don't have any other report at your disposal in basic. So I can come in here and I can go, time interest by employee. I can still run a report and see everyone's time. And that is basic. It's just the ability to create assignments in people's timesheet, allow them to track time on it, allow them to submit, and then you have your reports at your disposal. So this is the way that you would initially get yourself, if you were a company that were looking for a need to get off of manual timesheets and do it. This is the place to start, would be basic. Now, if I quickly jump over back to the pricing page, you can see that the professional version has, you know, a lot of differences between the two, where expenses is one, time and expense approval, budgeted time and cost, custom security, job scheduler, integration, and API access. So if I were to log out, now remember, I would not really have to log out if I got migrated because it's just a switch and I would stay into the same. I just have more than one because I want to show you the differences between the two. Now you can see immediately in Pro that there's like a change in the UI where there's a lot more menu items at your disposal. So obviously this version of Pro has the ability to do more than basic. And here I see people that either come through the door to purchase Pro or are migrating from basic to Pro. They've outgrown, you know, just tracking time. They need to have like, let's track internal company costs, or let's track billable rates, or let's have a budget. So we do allow you to do some of these things in this Pro version, which is not at your disposal in the basic. However, the commonalities again are very similar. You do have, the users have a timesheet to track their time. There's really no difference between basic and Pro in that way. However, they do in the Pro version have the ability to track expenses. So in Dovico, under here, you're able to set up expense categories where you can say, you know, airfare or mileage on your vehicle, or we purchase office chairs or whatever. You can make categories and people can track their expenses in Pro, where you can't do that. And I won't get too involved in it because I don't want to take the whole demonstration to show that, but obviously tracking expenses is a thing in Pro. You do have mobile apps in basic, but obviously you can only track time in the mobile app in basic. However, in the Pro version, if you use mobile apps, tracking expenses is a great way to track expenses on your phone on your phone using the app. And they do have reports. Now, the big differences between the user's reports and the user's reports in basic is they now have some expense reports, and they do have just regular time reports, which they would have had in basic. So that's the big difference in the user. Now, when it comes to some of the commonalities, there are some. There's the employee calendar in basic, so you can see time once it's submitted, so you can reject it or approve it. Actual time and cost is also there, but approved expenses is not. Bulk time move is not. Holiday time entry. So all these extra little tools and features are in Pro and not in basic. And again, approved expenses is just a location where you approve, people submit their expenses, and this is where the expenses come to live, where you would go look at them after they've been submitted. And a bulk time move is the ability to move time around from one project or task to another. And holiday time entry is a way to mass enter holiday time for employees if you needed to. Now, when I come into task templates or employees, these are again are the commonalities. Down here, we have clients, region, all the same things. But when I go to the employee, you will notice immediately that there's a difference here where I have, you know, rates. I have the ability to put like, you know, a billable rate or a hourly rate on the employee as a default rate, which I could not do in basic. Now, the security groups that the employees are assigned to, if I go here quickly over to security and I go to groups, you can see the 5 groups that I outlined in basic are there, but in Pro, you can create your own group from scratch. Or you could copy one of these and manipulate the existing security group and make your own group. So that's another security that security is not in basic. So that's the primary change in the employee. A big thing in the difference between basic and Pro is rates, and we now in the new version of this timesheet, we've added rates to tasks. I don't have any rates assigned to them at the moment, but I could come in here and I could say, well, coding's, you know, charge out rate is $80 an hour. So I could, you know, associate rates to tasks, which I could not do before. Now, in the physical project setup, when we come in here, there is a major difference between this and basic. In basic, you would just assign people to tasks. In here, we can come in here under this cost and budget option, and we can choose what we want to do: a time tracking only project, we want track internal pay rate, internal billing rates, or we want all of that at the same time. We can have budgets. So we can say, you know, it's going to take us 200 hours to do this. This was not available to you and you can also have budgets by employee. Not available to you in basic. And then here are all the different ways to apply rates. You can't mix rates in Dovico, but rates are the same per project. So I could have an employee rate, I could have a task rate, a project rate would be a flat rate. So I could say it's $80 an hour charge out rate for everything on this particular project. And a fixed amount, and assignment rate, again, is just rates. One is a bulk amount you can put in, which you can't do in basic as well. And then from here, I mean, bulk amount saying someone gave me a certain amount of money towards a certain project and I can record that. Now, let's see here. So that is the major difference when it comes to creating a project. You can now incorporate rates and incorporate budgets. So here, and that is the value you get. So now when I go to if I say use employee hourly rate and I go next, it will take those rates from the employee and assign them to this project. And I cannot change the pay rate because we believe that's static. People get paid the same no matter what they work on, but their billable rate can be overridden per project. And you can do this in different ways in Dovico. I won't get too much into it, but just to outline the fact that if you're not using rates, this is one of the key features that are used in Pro. So here I would just go add task and I could pick an existing task that I have, or I could just type a task in here. And then from here, I make my assignment. And if I assign myself to this, I can then say this item is billable or non-billable and make billable records in the system. So that is primarily the major difference here when it comes to basic and pro, which is the rates and the budget. However, there are lots of other features in here that make it valuable to a lot of our customers. They want to know, you know, where time and expenses are coming from and if they're correct, and they want a workflow. They want to say if time is submitted, it goes to this manager. If they want to say if expenses are submitted, they go to this person to be approved. So there's no workflows at all in basic. And if I come under here, under security, we also have what we call limited access, which is the ability to manage data. We also have a locked user. So if you log in too many times, you can't get in. Custom fields is available in basic. Leave absences is not. Your expense categories, your multi-currency. Now here we do show you, if you click on this, if I hit save here, let me save my project. If I come under setup here, we do show you the plan. And right now I do have the premium plan turned on in this one to make the demonstration easier. I did not show you, and I may have forgotten to show you in basic, that if you go under setup and you go under pricing plan, it will show that you are under basic and you can upgrade. It'll say upgrade. I can log out and actually show you. It'll say upgrade to the recent plan. So just to point that out, that we do have that in the system. I'm missing anything. So here under reports, we do have report permissions. So there's no report permissions in basic. This is the ability by security group to allow people to view reports or not have access to reports. We also have email notifications. So report notifications get automatically sent out, scheduled and sent out, or notifications get sent out like email reminders letting we want to know who has not submitted their time for the past week. So for a specific amount of hours, we can send a notification out checking on that and reminding them. So again, this is only in Pro. So that is basically the grand overview of what Pro is and the benefits of it. Again, budgets, row, and then when you come into reports, there are way more reports. And I guess I failed to mention in the basic is you can create reports from scratch. So build your own time reports. But in the Pro version, we have everything from expense reports to budget reports. So if I come here, I can go project time and cost with budget. I could double click on it. I could say, let's see all the projects for for the life of them. And then here I can see how many hours are spent on each project and what's the cost associated to each. So you get more value in your reports when it comes to showing, your client costs, your company costs. You can show your client and company costs with budget. So there's many ways to manipulate the data and look at it. The big feature, and this is, like I said, is available in the previous version, the basic, but just not as robust, is the ability, like if I want to run reports on time, by project or by employee, I can do so just like I did in basic. There's just more reports. But the big thing is when I go create report, I have more report types. In the basic version of when I hit create reports, these report types were not all there. These are like time and cost reports, budget and actual, expense attachments, that kind of thing, where you would not have all of these available to you in the basic version. So we do give you a more robust way of building reports with more data available to you just because of the robustness of Pro. Now, to get to the final step before I get into questions is to talk about Premium. Now, Premium has features as well that are not included in Professional, and one of them is SSO, single sign-on. So instead of people logging into Dovico did I turn that on today? Let's see. Normally, if I would have turned it on properly, if I would have enabled single sign-on, if it was on, I would have this SSO button here, and it just basically gives you a link and instructions on how to set up single sign-on. So Okta, Active Directory Azure, you can plug in and configure so that when you log in, you use your credentials for those. So you're using your same credentials as those applications. Now, another thing that was mentioned that's available to you in Pro and also in the Premium is the API. So we have a great API that allows you to either get information out on your own or write your own application. So these are the secret tokens that you can use. These tokens are not available in the basic version. Now, the reason why I don't log out of this particular version and log back in is because the workload feature is just something that's enabled on our end. And it's if you don't know what to look for, it's just kind of some subtle features throughout the software that makes it work the way that it works. And where I'm going to start is the employee. So in order for workload to work in Dovico, if I hit edit on my name and workload is on, I will have the ability to say which days of the week I work and how many hours per day that I work. So that would be your first parameter for each employee that you'd set up for the employee workload to take into consideration and making it work properly. The next step is when you come into here and you create a project. So if I go create, for example, and I create a project, associate my name to it, and if I want to associate a client, I can do that as well. Now, the most important part of workload is setting up the dates. The dates in Professional, not that they're not useful, they just don't have the power that the Premium has. In Pro, if you play with the dates, you could hide entries outside a certain date range. But here, we want to know, when did the project start and when the project's going to finish. So I would say, let's say August 1st, this project's going to finish. It starts today. So I go next. I can set up my project to track billable hours or just track time, just like I kind of explained in the Pro, that's up to you. Here, again, you can track rates accordingly, but in order to make your workload work, you have to be particular with your choice of how you're going to track your budget. You cannot track budget when budget's off. And you can't track budget when it's a global budget. And a global budget or project budget hours means that, this is going to take 100 hours, just like a flat budget. You can't use that. We want you to use budgeted hours per task because this is how that works. Now, you may have noticed this or may not have noticed this. This is how you know you have Premium or not. If this little checkbox is not here in this detailed section, it means you don't have it. So I can include some projects in my workload, or I can exclude. Now, the reason for that would be, you know, if I had a vacation project or an internal administration project, I may not want that to reflect in the workload. So I can uncheck it and just make a regular generic project. However, I want to show you guys workload, so we're going to include it. Just like, you know, the software works, you just add your employees to like the step, like all the systems, that commonality that we have between all three, that's the same step, except for the rates you don't have in basic, but you do have in premium. Now here, I can add tasks. I can add marketing. I could go, let's see. We can go review. And we can go. So here, you know, assigning it has not changed. That is the same. What's important though is the start and end dates on every single task. So coming through here and determining and building your plan by using this. So I would come in here and say, so if it finished August 1st. So I could say, you know, this particular task is going to finish a month earlier than the previous one. And this one is going to finish, let's say, right on time. I can still assign people. Now here's where it changes, and I guess I forgot to turn it off when I showed Pro. You guys actually seen the green here. In Pro, this would not be there. It shows you I am very, and the reason why the budget hours get calculated that way is the amount of time that you chose in the date range. And I don't have a lot of data in the system, so I'm a little bloated on the budget. But when I click on here, if I'm assigned anywhere else for this time period, it's going to tell me Carl's assigned to this project, that project, and these are the budgeted hours for each one of those and the time period for each. So what this gives me the ability to do is not just make, you know, I can make a more accurate guess when I go like this. And when I assign a budget to them, that's where the workload comes in. I can say, well, this is going to take 20 hours. If I assign someone else to it, let me just assign everybody to it to make it easy. Now, if I have 20 here, if I put 10 here, the minute I click away, you can see it subtracts as I go along. So I can just come through, enter my budget for each person and hit apply. So that's all that I have to do while I'm building my project in order for workload to take into consideration. Now, if I hit save and I hit activate project, we're really not going to see a whole lot of anything that shows us that premium is in effect. Because when I come here under this drop down, you can see I now have workload. And if I click on it, this is a view that breaks down what you've set up in one location so you can look at it. So we do have filters up here that you can look at it by active projects or draft projects only. You can go by week, by month. Second. You can go by week, by month, and you can even, if you have groups, you can sort by group. But essentially what you're looking at here is the months. And by each month, you're seeing how many available hours that each user has. And if I expand it, it shows each project they have, and I can see when they end or what time they end. And if I double click, I will get a breakdown of each task they have in each project. I can also go directly to the project from here to make any changes that I need, that if I see any mistakes or any alterations that I want to make here. So that is basically what you're looking at here. And also we have an export where you can send this to a device and it will print off and it'll show more. Like we have a little real estate here, you can show more information in the printing of the workload. Now, I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing here. I guess the only thing else that I'm missing outside of the workload that I didn't mention that's in premium also is the we have the quick assign and we have the billing tool. So the billing tool is the ability to create invoices. But again, I didn't say I was gonna show it today, but I just wanted to point that out, that those are the features that are different between the versions. Yeah, billing, SSO, project capacity, and we also have an audit trail and DCE compliancy. So we have reports that are specific that track if things get deleted, or we can track who approved certain things. So that gives you the ability to be DCA compliant, and we can talk more about that. Now I'm going to jump back from here to our show up and see if we do have any questions. And if, I guess we don't have any at the moment, but are there any questions that anyone would like to ask?
Hit
Just
refresh.
Oh, refresh. Well, if you have a question, you ask them where, you can ask them here if you like. You could ask them in the chat in Zoom, or you can just take yourself off mute and ask me if you like. That works too.
I have two questions.
Sure.
We are that middle account, or that's, the plan that we're on. Is there
Okay.
a way for me to let my employees who are just time and entry to use the employee calendar versus the normal way of entering time?
Unfortunately, not end users like are is specifically designed to use the time entry tool because yeah, it's more of an administrative tool, the time calendar.
Yeah, sure. We just have some people who think a little bit better when they look at calendars, so figured I'd check. And then the other question is, when we archive or deactivate an employee, as an administrator, when I'm working in the employee calendar, it still shows the deactivated employees. Is there a way to archive them?
There is a way to archive them. And again, we can get a little more detail. If like my calendar link will be posted in here if you'd like to click on it, and I can even tell you more. But yes, we do have an archive. It's a little, you do have to speak to someone here about the archive because it's not that it's not straightforward, but it's not like, yeah, we need to just speak briefly because we do have some procedures we have to follow in order to archive. But yeah, if you had an employee that no longer works there, or a project, or a client, you flag them for archive first. So there's a little checkbox next to their name or next to the project. You go through, and then we have to do a validation on our end to see if there's some, there could be some problems that we can't do the archive immediately. But yes, I would be more than happy to sit down with you to show you how you can archive.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
I will drop a link to Carl's Calendly in the chat. So if anybody wants to book a demo with him, or any kind of discovery call around timesheet, I'm sure it'll be his pleasure to accommodate. So look out for that, Anna.
Thank you, Monica. So this question here, can I stay at my current plan basic but get access to rates and expenses? Unfortunately, you have to move to the pro version to get rates and expenses. There's no way for us to turn that on basic. It's kind of excluded from that version. Seeing people time availability is powerful. Yes, it is. Is there a place we can add documents? We've had this question quite a bit, and we have, talked about it in meetings, a place to either attach documents or important information to projects, or not quite sure where, but we have definitely talked about this in the past, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again now that this comment is here. We currently do not have a place to attach any type of documentation in the system, but I thank you for that consideration there. If I upgrade, can I downgrade after and change my mind? Actually, what we can do, if people get a hold of me, let's say, for example, you're on basic, we can make a copy of your environment and upgrade you. We don't want to upgrade you and then you change your mind, and then we'd have a hard time getting you back to what you were at, because it's the live version. So what we would offer is to copy your basic version, let's say, upgrade basic to pro, you play with it for a month, and then you're like, oh yeah, we want it, and then we can transfer you. And that would go the same for anyone who's interested in premium. If you're not, you don't want to jump into it and say, let's purchase this today, I can give you premium for a few months to try it, and then you can determine at that time whether it's actually of value to you or not. Can I enter my calendar entries automatically? Well, that's kind of a really cool question, because We are currently, I believe, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I think we are talking and potentially working on taking our calendar entries and making them automatically. We do have, I don't have Outlook open. We do have an Outlook add-in that's available for all versions, and there is a way in there as well that you could go, you can track through the Outlook add-in, you can track your time like almost like a phone app. But there's also a way to have a add-in that when you go to your calendars, you can turn your calendar events into time entries. But we're talking, that's an older tool, the calendar, the Outlook, not old tool, but it's not new. We're currently talking about turning calendar events into time entries in a newer way. But we do have an older way, which is the Outlook add-in. And if you want to learn more, click in my calendar link and we can just request time and I can show you the Outlook add-in and how it turns calendar events into time entries. Track time for the calendar request, track time for the calendar.
That was just to take note of the comment I think Anna made that it would be nice, some people work better from a calendar view. So that was me. I added it in there, so we had it captured.
Can I have just one group on premium? So maybe so that's a very good question. Some people want to know if they can put like part of their licenses on one plan and part of the licenses on another plan. Unfortunately, it's all or nothing. It's not like part of your company can go to it. It has to be everyone. How much to move to the premium? Now that depends. It's here. This is our default pricing on our pricing page. If you want to get more accurate pricing, depending on your plan, if you're like a long-time existing customer, we can definitely talk and see what we can do. But again, my calendar link is there for that. Is there any other questions that you guys want to pose in this short program, or any questions in general from the audience?
Well, this is Wendy. I work for the University of Baltimore. So we have a huge financial system that the university uses, and we use Dovico because I work for the Office of Sponsored Research. So of course I want to track all my grants. And so this is how we do it with the employees. We're right now on the professional, and there's like, so like I have a lot of questions, and Wendy used to be my sales rep.
Yeah.
To text her on a regular basis. So I'm assuming you're going to be the person who I would go to, but I have like a lot of like little questions. I don't know if you wanted to delve into here or what.
Oh, Wendy, you're more than welcome to hit my Calendly link, and I'd be happy to take
Okay.
Wendy's place for you. Yes.
It's because we've been using it for 3 years, and I know that when we changed over to Dovico, when we decided to take one on, we were in a rush, and so I got like, here's the basics and smile, here we go. And I've only been doing it by myself, but I know I'm not taking the full benefit of the professional version that we have. But like you were asking like what would be different. Like I don't think the professional would work for us. It's more information than we need in order just to do it. But I do a lot of federal reporting that I want to, and I want to do my reports on here because it actually goes on that as far as effort goes for my employees. But right now, when you download reports from Dovico, it's like a picture of what it was in Dovico. It's not, like you can't, like if I wanted to make sure the calculation went out to 4 decimal points, and I change it, it works in there, but however, it won't recalculate numbers, because they're all just like static. So I wanted to know if that was a possibility. And we have that, and my employees can go way past the date of a project. It doesn't stop them. Is there a way to make them stop, to where they won't be allowed after the end date of a project to keep adding hours to it? Or after the
way that
their task?
there is a way, Wendy, and that's like either by preventing entries outside date range or completing projects when they're completed. So yeah, if you want to, I'd be more than happy to show you all those things. Spend time with you. If you click my calendar link, I can definitely show you how that works. Yeah.
I will set up a meeting with you so that way we can spend some time. December happens to be my slow time, so it works out well.
That's good. Yes, for sure.
Carl, was the time lockout in premium only, or where was the time lockout? In which version?
Time lockouts in all of them.
All of Okay.
Except for basic, pro and premium. Pro and premium are like premium has all pros features. So the only thing that SSO billing and the employee workload and audit is the additional things in this premium. So everything else like security, lock users, that kind of thing is carried over from pro.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions here? So here is our next steps, and I guess we already covered like putting my calendar link in the chat. But yeah, if you guys want to get more information about the plans and about moving between the plans, or maybe testing moving between the plans, because like I said, you don't have to. I'm not, it's not like you have to. We can make copies and get you to try it. You can visit our website to also find me there. And I do have one final question here at the end, and it's more along the lines that today I talked to you about what features you might benefit from and what's more valuable in one version than the other, or what you might want to take advantage of. However, I want to know what you think tools or features in Dovico that you'd like to see that would improve, or what would make you want to move, the version you're in, or something you just like to see in Dovico. Now, this tile doesn't look like you're able to put comments if you were the other one, but you are. So just, and we're going to keep this particular tile open for like a week if you really want to. I know people probably won't do it that long, but if we get off this call, it's still going to be there. So if you get a minute and you want to just drop a suggestion for us, we will be glad to entertain it and see where it would lead. So that is that's what I'd like you guys to do if you can. Was there anything else? Add doc links, yes.
We will also add the link to this conversation to the thank you email. So if you're worried about forgetting to the link, no worries. We will send it to you in the next 24 hours.
Is there anything else from anyone that asked questions today related to the demonstration or timesheet in general?
What a great presentation, Carl. Thank you so much. Carl extraordinaire, delivering to us. Carl's been with us for a lot of years. And if you don't know about timesheet, Carl knows everything about it. So Wendy, yes, please reach out to Carl, spend some time there, and he will make sure that, that you have that touch like you did with Wendy before she retired. So yeah, Carl, thank you so much. That was an amazing presentation. And I see the power even more now, right? So thank you. Thank you all for coming as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Enjoy
Thanks,
the rest of
Carl.
your day. Be careful in the snow out there, fellow people.
Thank you, Carl.
Bye.
Thanks, Carl. Good job.
Thank you.